Oh man, seriously, come on, come on. Holy shit, dude. Where do I even begin with this video? Alright, so people are already aware, or for those who might not yet know, about yes means yes. Essentially, yes means yes is a kind of pseudo law that started in the United States, initially within universities. In essence, it was a law that granted women the ability to engage in relationships with guys, whether casually or in a dating context, and then after days, weeks, months, or even years, they could accuse the guy of rape. That's when written consent became necessary. Wonder there's a trend of guys recording a girl consenting to sex before they act. Anyway, there's yes means yes and Me Too. Me Too is an advanced version of yes means yes applicable in the workplace. It was Me Too that turned an accusation into something that could ruin a guy's life. Over time, it evolved from weeks or months to Me Too years. So the young man sent me to watch his video. Why make this video? Because we think these crazy things only happen in Europe? Are these things only happening in the United States? No way, man. They're bringing it over here to Brazil as well. And isn't it quite comical? Look how amusing that is. It took women a whole 60 years to finally understand that sexual liberation isn't actually beneficial for them. That they can't truly be free, can't be responsible, and can't have control over their own lives. And as usual, it's always the men's fault, never her own. So, here we go. Here's a summary of the video. In it, a lady shows up and explains that the woman is caught up in a romantic scam. It's a type of scam where the man is essentially stealing her sex. Yes, stealing her sex. To put it in simpler terms, the guy is involved with the girl. He likes her. But he's only interested in a casual relationship. He has no intention of dating her seriously, getting married, living together, or anything of that sort. However, if the woman... Let me translate for you, okay? So, she mentioned that the guy is a player, someone who is exploiting the woman. But we all know this kind of story really well. It's about that woman who, at best, might be rated as a 7 or an 8 and possibly even a 9 in terms of physical appearance. However, there's something off about her. There's something not quite right with how she behaves. She's extremely toxic, the kind of woman who is absolutely crazy. In one of those wild moments, she's just so out of control, so irrational, that the guy will absolutely never want to pursue a stable, committed relationship with her. And anything else. But anyway, this lady's argument is that the guy, the jerk, he's taking advantage of her. The point is not that the woman in one of these situations is aiming for a guy who's a grade 9, a grade 10, who's way above her, who will obviously only use her for sex and will never commit to her. No, now it's the man's responsibility. Because it doesn't matter what the man wants, what the man expects from the relationship. It doesn't matter if the man wants to have a casual relationship. The point is that the woman is expecting commitment. The woman is aiming for an alpha who's above her, or she's aiming for a hustler. And she wants it because she wants to give the guy a leg up, date or get married, something like that. And if she can't, what has to happen? The woman has to have the right to penalize the guy. The lady in the video didn't specify how it should be in law. She likely got it from a UK lecture, as she mentions being there. Some second-wave feminists likely discussed it. Those feminists are sexually negative, wanting to ban porn, sex toys, and have a puritanical view. But anyway, returning to the topic, the main point is that the woman is not mature enough to handle her own emotions. She lacks the maturity to make her own decisions and take responsibility for them. The woman speaking in the video also mentions that men sometimes exploit women not only for the purpose of obtaining sex. In the context of stealing sex, both parties experience pleasure, both parties enjoy themselves, and both parties can benefit from a casual relationship. However, if the woman is expecting a bit more, then no, it must be considered some sort of fraud. Or worse, we could even accuse it of being rape. The man takes advantage of her for anal sex. Sometimes the man is stingy and wants to take advantage of the woman for anal sex and more. Now, let's get the wheels turning. Let's translate this bit thinking. Essentially, it's suggesting that the woman isn't capable of making her own choices in a fully liberated sexual market. She is not able to take responsibility for her own decisions. And naturally, she desires the power to accuse a man of rape, to penalize any man who doesn't fulfill her expectations. Let's interpret that. Essentially, every man is now a slave. Yes, a slave. If any woman, any random woman, glances at you and thinks, I want to date that man, I want to marry that man, and you refuse, rape, man. So rapist, man, you're stealing the girl's sex. You simply cannot have a casual relationship with a girl. It's impossible to enjoy that healthy period of a few weeks, or possibly even 1, 2, or 3 months, where you are testing the waters with the person to determine if a relationship is truly worth pursuing. If the woman is weak-minded or unstable, and she's freaking out because she's desperate for a commitment, she might be one of those intense women who's over 30 and is eager to secure a guy just because she wants to have a guy. If she goes off the deep end due to that desperation, or starts thinking you're taking advantage of her by stealing her sex, taking advantage of her emotions, it can become quite problematic. Exploiting her. Assault, man. You're committing an abuse, understand? And the thing is, this video is shown in Portuguese, man. The video's in Portuguese, there are a lot of Brazilians commenting and watching it. Man, it's a level of schizophrenia. I put a few comments in there for fun. But man, honestly, it's like I said, the responsibility is female kryptonite. And I think it goes beyond that. The MGTOW discussion has progressed, it goes further. It's not only about the laws being unfair. You can't have a meaningful relationship with a woman, you can't become a father, you can't get married, and you can't live together, because you need to avoid a stable union. It's more than just laws, my friend. Let's delve deeper into the behavior of women today, particularly the modern woman, the career-driven woman. Forget the laws that are unjust. Let's examine behavior, the pros and cons of a relationship with a woman. And we already see that it's a headache, it's stress, it's a bit of sex, it's a lot of stress and a headache. It's much more negative than positive. Perhaps the women of previous generations were a little better, a little more feminine, and didn't have this stoicism, this schizophrenia. But let's go to another level, man. It's beyond the question of laws, it's beyond the question of whether it's worth it or not. It's starting to get dangerous, old man. It's starting to get risky. The danger and risk is no longer just in marriage, living together or having children. That part has already been totally destroyed, totally screwed up. Now even for dating, man. Dating, casual sex, casual relationships and dating. Is it becoming risky or dangerous? Also, in Me Too, are workplace relationships with women, besides romantic ones, becoming dangerous? As Sandro put it, man, the business will need to split up everything because it doesn't have to, man. Women just can't be free. They aren't capable of taking responsibility for their actions. It seems like they either want to fully dominate men or they desire to be entirely dominated themselves. To put it simply, every time they come up with a set of rules and aim to involve the government in marriage, parenthood, and stable unions, they are also now trying to involve the government in casual relationships and dating. They desire to exert the powerful influence of governmental authority to gain control over men and dominate them. This desire to control and dominate men is pervasive, and it doesn't matter if the man in question is a super alpha male who is completely out of reach for her because she is considered a low-grade woman in the sexual marketplace, even if he's that incredibly driven hustler whom the woman claims to despise. Yet when she looks at him, she feels an undeniable attraction. She still wants to dominate him, to have control over him. It doesn't matter whether we understand the intricate dynamics of relationships or not, the urge to dominate remains the same. It's the same. When the woman dominates the guy becomes concrete, and she starts to lose her attraction to him. But anyway, moving on. Now, let's translate this situation. Every time I observe women who are eager to create and implement these tools of male domination, the translation I interpret is that these women are essentially asking, they're pleading, for goodness sake, I can't handle freedom. I despise the idea of freedom. I am unable to take responsibility. I don't wish to be accountable for my choices. I want to avoid facing the repercussions of my decisions. I am unwilling to face the consequences of my choices. I am reluctant to endure the outcomes of my decisions. I don't want to deal with the aftermath of my choices. I am not prepared to handle the consequences of my decisions. I am not ready to face the repercussions of my actions. I am not willing to suffer the consequences of my decisions. I don't want to bear the consequences of my decisions. I desire to make the choices in my own life. Yet I also yearn for someone to have control over me. Someone who can guide me. Someone who can take the lead. And someone who can exert dominance over me. What it seems like is this, man, they really want to return. Is it a sort of neo-Puritanism where they desire to revert back to the 19th century? It's not like we're going back to an era in which women were dominated by men. They're practically begging, for God's sake, take away my rights. I can't stand having rights anymore. I don't know how to deal with them. It seems that they want to go back to that time when the first half of a woman's life was in her father's house and she had to obey him. And the second half of her life was in her husband's house and she had to obey him. It's like I said, either they want to completely dominate men and detonate the whole of society as a result, or they want to be dominated by men. There's no middle ground. We've been trying to achieve equality with women for a century, half a century. We can't. Either they want to dominate or they want to be dominated. And the most humane solution, the most beneficial for society, for as many people as possible, is to take away their rights. Rights is to dominate them. And then they'll say, but then the woman will complain. Man, women are complaining now. If you give them freedom, they complain. Take away their freedom, they complain. But at least if we take away their freedom, take away their rights, they won't have to put up with this hysteria, this schizophrenia while our society collapses. Oh, really, man. It's in moments like these that sex dolls and male sex toys seem to become even more appealing, man. Because ever since I started the channel, it feels like women have become more and more toxic. I'm not sure if it's due to the 2020 bubble and the misanthropic bubble bursting, or if it's because I created the channel and we're spreading a lot of information. But if I were to offer any advice to a man, I definitely give the following tip, man. The year 2019 appears to be an excellent time to embrace celibacy, almost as if it were a divine gift, a choice made freely and willingly to remain celibate. To be honest, the constant crying is really messing with my emotions.